All right, so let's jump into some potential IELTS speaking topics.
Sounds good.
You might see these in October and November.
Okay.
We're looking at a blog post by IELTS expert Dave. It's called Recent IELTS Speaking Topics and Questions 2024.
All right.
And you've shared some specific questions you're curious about.
Yeah.
We'll definitely get to those.
Okay.
But first, I think it's really helpful to get a sense of the structure of the IELTS speaking exam.
Absolutely. I think understanding the format and expectations can really help you feel confident on exam day.
Yeah, it's like having a roadmap
Exactly.
before you set off on a journey.
Yeah.
Okay, so imagine you walk into the exam room.
Okay.
You greet the examiner, and the IELTS speaking test begins.
Right.
Part 1. It's designed to ease you in with familiar territory.
Yeah.
Think of it as a warm-up conversation.
Okay.
It starts with those basic questions about yourself,
Right.
your work, your studies, where you live.
Yes.
This helps the examiner get a sense of your basic communication skills and pronunciation.
Yes.
And then you move on to a couple of broader, more personal topics,
Okay.
each with a few questions to explore.
Right.
And here's a little secret
Okay.
from Dave.
All right.
The examiner has to stick to the script.
Oh, really?
They can only ask the exact questions on their card,
Oh, wow.
which means you can anticipate the general themes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So that's good to know that they can't really go off script.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So knowing that the examiner is bound by that script,
Yeah,
it can really reduce anxiety.
for sure.
It's all about assessing your English proficiency fairly,
Right.
not trying to trick you.
Yeah.
Dave even mentions it's perfectly fine to ask for clarification
Oh, okay.
if a word isn't clear.
Yeah.
For example, if the examiner asks about your favorite season and you're unsure if they mean a time of year or something else,
Right. Right.
you can just ask.
I see.
Yeah, always better to be certain
Yeah.
than to misunderstand
Right.
and give an off-topic response. Exactly. Remember, the examiner is there to assess your language skills,
Yeah,
not your ability to read minds.
for sure.
So speaking of topics,
Okay.
let's look at some recent ones Dave highlighted
All right.
that I thought were interesting.
Okay.
Noise, for instance, struck me as very relevant to modern life.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It could lead to a discussion about the impact of constant stimulation
Right.
on our well-being. And think about the vocabulary you could use.
Oh, yeah.
Urban clamor,
Tranquility.
soundscape.
Right.
It's a chance to showcase a range of descriptive language.
Absolutely.
Another topic that caught my eye was science.
Okay.
It's a chance to demonstrate your ability to discuss academic subjects, maybe even touch on current research
Yeah.
or ethical debates.
Right.
Yes, you could talk about advancements in medicine, artificial intelligence, space exploration.
For sure.
So many possibilities. It's about showcasing your ability to handle complex ideas in English. Celebrities also stood out to me
Okay.
because it taps into pop culture
Yeah.
and societal trends.
Right.
You could discuss the influence of celebrities, the concept of fame, or even the ethics of media representation.
Right.
It's a topic that allows you to demonstrate your awareness of current events
Yeah.
and cultural trends, which is important for showing you can engage with the world around you
For sure.
in English.
Yeah.
And then there's old age,
Okay.
which I found quite thought-provoking. It invites a discussion about societal attitudes towards aging, intergenerational relationships,
Right.
and even healthcare systems.
Yeah.
It's a topic that requires sensitivity and a nuanced approach,
Absolute.
which are valuable skills to demonstrate in any language.
For sure.
Part 1 really sets the stage for the rest of the speaking exam,
Yeah.
showcasing your ability to handle everyday conversations and express yourself clearly.
Right.
Now let's move on to part 2,
Okay.
where things get a bit more challenging,
Right.
but also more interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
You'll be given describe a prompt, and you'll have 1 minute to plan your response,
Okay.
and then 2 full minutes to speak.
Right.
This section tests your ability to organize your thoughts, speak fluently,
Yeah.
and develop a narrative.
Right.
The key is to keep talking for the full 2 minutes.
Okay.
Even if you feel a little nervous, it's natural to want to rush.
Yeah.
But remember, the examiner wants to assess your fluency
Right.
and ability to sustain a monologue.
Got it.
And here's another insider tip.
Okay.
There's something called a rounding off question
Oh, what's that?
at the end of part 2.
Okay.
It's basically a final question that helps wrap up your response
Okay.
and transition to part 3.
Right.
Yes. It's typically a broader question
Okay.
related to the topic you've been discussing.
Yeah.
For example, if you've been describing a favorite movie, The rounding off question might ask about the importance of movies in society or the impact of streaming services on the film industry.
I see.
Now, before we jump into part 3,
Okay.
let's look at some of the part 2 prompts that Dave mentioned in his blog post.
All right.
And maybe even connect those to the specific questions you sent us about.
Okay. You actually asked about one of the example prompts Dave included.
Oh, yeah.
Describe a movie that you like.
Right.
This is a great opportunity to talk about something you're passionate about.
Yeah, definitely.
Which can make your response more engaging and natural.
For sure.
It's also a chance to showcase your vocabulary related to storytelling.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Character development, cinematography.
Right. All those elements that make a movie memorable.
You could even touch on the film's cultural impact.
Yeah.
Or how it relates to your personal values.
Right.
And since you're curious about how to approach the question, do you prefer the city or the countryside?
Yeah.
Maybe we can use that as another example. Part 2 prompt.
Okay.
Imagine you get the cue card. Describe a place you enjoy spending time in.
Okay.
You could easily use this to talk about either a bustling city
Right.
or a peaceful rural setting.
I see. That's a brilliant connection.
So let's say you choose to describe a city you love.
Okay.
You could talk about the vibrant atmosphere, the architectural landmarks, the diverse culinary scene.
Right. Paint a vivid picture with your words.
And don't forget to explain why you enjoy spending time there.
Yeah.
Is it the energy that draws you in?
Right.
The sense of anonymity? The endless possibilities for exploration and entertainment?
Yeah.
Remember, the examiner's looking for you to develop your ideas and showcase your language skills.
Right. It's not just about listing facts, but about expressing your personal connection to the place.
Now let's shift gears to part 3.
Okay.
The final stage of the IELTS speaking exam.
All right.
This is where the examiner will engage you in a deeper discussion related to the topic you explored in part 2.
Gotcha. This is where you can really shine by demonstrating your critical thinking skills.
Yeah.
And ability to express opinions on more abstract issues.
Right. The questions in part 3 are designed to go beyond personal experiences and delve into broader societal themes.
Okay.
The examiner might ask you to analyze trends,
Right.
compare perspectives, or even speculate about the future.
Yeah, it's a chance to showcase your ability to engage in a thoughtful and nuanced discussion.
For example, if you talked about a city you love in part 2,
Oh.
the examiner might ask you about the challenges of urban planning, the impact of tourism on cities, or the future of urban living.
I see.
Or going back to that, describe a movie you like prompt.
Right.
The part 3 discussion could focus on the role of film in society, the influence of streaming services, or the importance of preserving cultural heritage through cinema.
Yeah.
Remember, in part 3, it's less about giving a right answer and more about demonstrating your ability to think critically, express your opinions clearly, and support your ideas with relevant examples.
Okay. You also had a specific question about how to approach what apps do you often use?
Oh yeah, that question could easily pop up in part 1, where the examiner is trying to get a sense of your everyday life and interests.
Right.
It's a great opportunity to showcase vocabulary related to technology.
For sure.
And digital communication.
Right.
You could mention apps you use for social networking,
Yeah.
staying organized, learning new skills, or even just having fun.
Okay.
For example, you could say,
Okay.
I use Duolingo to improve my French.
Right.
It's a really engaging app that makes language learning feel like a game.
Yeah.
Or I rely on Google Maps to navigate the city.
Okay.
It's a lifesaver when I'm exploring new areas or trying to find the quickest route.
Right.
Remember to be specific and explain how you use these apps. It's about demonstrating your fluency and ability to discuss contemporary topics.
Now let's tackle that last question you sent in.
Okay.
Do you think the climate is changing?
Right.
This is a big one.
Yeah.
And it definitely has the potential to come up in part 3, where the discussion becomes more abstract and focused on global issues.
This question invites you to share your informed opinion on a pressing global issue.
Right.
You can discuss the evidence you've seen, the potential consequences, and even different perspectives on the issue.
I see.
It's crucial to stay informed about current events and scientific findings related to climate change.
For sure.
You could mention things like rising sea levels, extreme weather events, or the impact on biodiversity.
Gotcha.
And it's important to be able to discuss these issues in a balanced and objective way, even if you have strong personal opinions.
Right.
Remember, the examiner isn't looking for a right or wrong answer. but rather your ability to articulate complex ideas,
Right.
present evidence,
Right.
and engage in a reasoned discussion.
So it's fascinating how these IELTS topics
Yeah.
can spark such wide-ranging discussions.
Absolutely.
We've
Yeah.
gone from movies to cities
I know.
to global climate change,
Yeah.
all in the span of this deep dive.
It really highlights how language proficiency is about so much more than just grammar and vocabulary.
Yeah, for sure.
It's about being able to engage with the world around us, express our thoughts and opinions, participate in meaningful conversations on a variety of topics.
Exactly. And the IELTS speaking exam is designed to assess your readiness for those real-world situations.
Right.
Think about it, whether you're studying abroad, working in an international company, or simply engaging with people from different cultures, you'll need to be able to communicate effectively
Yeah.
on a range of subjects.
Absolutely. And remember, the examiner isn't just listening for perfect grammar or vast vocabulary.
No.
They're also paying attention to your fluency, your pronunciation, your ability to organize your thoughts,
Yeah.
and your overall confidence in expressing yourself.
So to all our listeners out there prepping for the IELTS,
Yeah,
remember that practice is key.
for sure.
Don't just try to memorize answers.
Right.
Really engage with the topics.
Yeah.
Think about different perspectives. Jot down some key vocabulary words and practice speaking out loud as much as possible.
Absolutely. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become.
You got this.
Yeah.
The IELTS might seem daunting, but with preparation and a positive mindset, you can absolutely ace it.
I agree.
This deep dive has given you a glimpse into the structure of the IELTS, speaking exams, some potential topics you might encounter, and a few strategies for approaching each part. We even touched on those specific questions you're curious about, exploring how they could fit into different sections of the exam.
Yeah, and as a final thought, I encourage you to choose a few of the topics we've discussed and do a deeper dive of your own research them. Further brainstorm ideas and practice speaking about them in English.
Remember, the more you practice, the more confident you'll become, and who knows, you might even discover some new passions or perspectives along the way.
Exactly.
Good luck on your IELTS journey.